Hi everyone! Happy 2024. I hope you guys had a fantastic reading year. Today we're going to talk about all of the books, let's not knock them over now, that I read in 2023, and that would come out to a total of 76 books. I know, crazy. I actually set my goal to 30. So I really surpassed, which just made me feel really good. I could have just like set the goal higher, but I never did. And yeah, so next year's goal is actually going to be 100. Well, this year, because it is 2024, is 100 because I did not really have a like completed reading month until May of this year. And I feel like that is like so much time to get an extra like 14 books done or whatever. That is not math. That would be like 24. And we're just gonna rapid fire them. I'm gonna try to just give you my rating and like a brief, like how I felt about it. Yeah. So my very first read of the year was Love Life Farms. It was like right after Christmas and it just kind of like drug into the new year. And this book was so good. It just like was everything you wanted if you just want a romance on a Christmas tree farm. That's really all you need to know. I would give it like a 4.5 stars. I really enjoyed it. And it was just so cute and cozy. Like if you want a cozy read, just do it. Next we have The Way I Used to Be. I rated this, I would say like a 3 stars. It's just very, very high school because it's about a high schooler. But I really enjoyed the journey that we were taken on. It hits pretty good. Please check your trigger warnings because it's going to make you cry probably, or it's just going to be really triggering. And yeah, next we have From Blood and Ash. I actually did the audiobook of this and I adored it. From Blood and Ash was so good. It was a 5 stars. It's just like a very high fantasy, just like everything that you could ever, like when you think about a really smutty fantasy, that's what it is. And it was perfect for that. So if you just want a really, really smutty fantasy. Next I read The Dead Romantics. I think this really just sparked my love for reading again because I had a lot more time at the beginning of the year because like nursing school was kind of like winding down. I picked up The Dead Romantics and I finished it. I was probably like halfway through already, but I finished it in like one sitting and I hadn't done that in years because of school. So it was like, wow. Next, I did the audiobook of Kingdom of Flesh and Fire. I hope this is the second one. I don't really know what I'm talking about. Definitely still liked it. I didn't like it as much as the first one, but I felt like, you know, things were like progressing. I just do really like the characters, especially the man. Yes. I would give that like a 4 stars. Next we have If He Had Been With Me. Oh my god. This killed me. I'm sure if you've seen this book anywhere, you know that like everybody's just sobbing when they finish it, and for sure, like they're not wrong. So do I recommend it? No, because of the emotional trauma. Like you know from the first page that this book is going to hurt. And then you just forget about it and you're like, I don't know what you're talking about, what? And then you get to the end and you're like, oh yeah. Oops. I would give this a 4 stars. I really enjoyed the journey that we went on, even though it hurt really bad. And I think the second one has come out already. I don't know. And I really need to pick it up, even though like part of me is like, I don't really care anymore. Part of me just really needs his POV, you know? So we'll see. I'm not really sure. It's not my vibe anymore, but I don't know. Next we have Brutal Prince by Sophie Lark. I would definitely give this like a 4.5. It was really great for what it was. Like if you want like a mafia romance, just like dark romance vibes, this is great. And I laughed way more than I thought that I would. I honestly think that I rated this higher than I'm telling you. I feel like I just start making things up, to be honest. Yeah, actually I'm not wrong. I give this a 4 stars. I loved how much I laughed though. The strawberries being on the cover, if you know, you know. I love these characters. I loved how like snarky and sassy the female main character was. So I highly recommend, if you just want a good dark romance, Sophie Lark is the way to go. And she has a bunch of these that I unfortunately haven't gotten to, but that's okay. Okay, next book I read was Say You Swear. I really liked it. I really liked it. I gave it like 5 stars. at first I was like, okay, this is just getting like, it's just college football romance, like that's pretty much all it is. It gets so much better than that, and there's like a bit of a love triangle, but not really, not really. There's like no competition, and it just gets so good. And then the twist at the end, you're just like, what? And it gets so emotional, and just check your trigger warnings, but it's so good. Anyways, next I read Love Letter to Whiskey. When I tell you, I read this on the plane on the way back home from Greece in one sitting. I mean, obviously, because I was on a plane forever, but I don't think I was getting up at any time, whether I was reading or not. However, 5 stars, 5 freaking stars. And I loved that this was like the 5-year anniversary edition or 10-year or something like that. So first you went through this entire love story from the girl's POV, and then you read the whole story and you're like, wow, that took forever to get here, because then they put his POV and it's the entire story over again, but in his POV. And honestly, I was so here for it, because I loved being like, oh my god, I remember how this happened. And then now you just get it in his POV and you're like, now I know why. I know what both of you are thinking. I hate you both and I love you both at the same time, because you just go forever. Like, if you hate when people just don't get together and there's like all this like stuff getting in their way and you're like, just be together, that's what this is, unfortunately. But it's so good that you don't even care that you're so mad. It's like gotta be one of my favorite reads of all time, to be honest. Next we have Secretly Yours by Tessa Bailey. This was really cute. It wasn't anything special. I gave it like a 3 stars. But it was kind of giving Love Light Farms, but if it was at a winery instead of a tree farm. I feel like the setting was everything for this. Like, that's what really kept me going in this. But it was like a little spicy. I did like it. It's definitely something that I wouldn't say like I don't recommend. I do recommend this. So if you just want something that's really summery, winery, hello. And it's definitely like a bit of like enemies to lovers in a way. I think the female main character used to like have a crush on the guy or something. So that's really cute. I love it. Next we have Happy Place by Emily Henry. This was a 5 stars for sure. I was so shocked by this. I didn't know what to expect because I never really read Emily Henry before, and we have the same last name, so besties. But I was so shocked. Like, I know everybody says it, but it's so much more than just a romance. Like, it's literally about growing up, and it just really hits, especially when you are getting to that age and you're like, it like takes so much to make time for your friends, because we're all in like different stages of life now. We're like moving and like getting careers and stuff. It's like, it really hits pretty hard, and I needed it though. I really did need it, because I needed something to like remind me of like what's important. I don't know how to explain it. It gets so deep for no reason at all, but it's incredible, and I love the characters in this. 5 stars. 5. Please read it. If you haven't read that, you just have to. So then, of course, I read Beach Read, because everybody talks about Beach Read. This was a 5 stars for sure. I will say that I liked Happy Place a little bit more just because of the, like, topics, I guess, that it talked about. I still really do like the Beach Read, like, really develops the characters. It's not just like a romance. So I like that. But this was just so cute, and it's not even on a beach, I don't think. I think it's like a lake house or something, but this is the perfect summery read, so you should definitely pick this up this year if you haven't. Next, I read Fourth Wing. I was one of those people that surprisingly got this before it sold out with like the pretty pages and stuff. I had just been seeing it on TikTok a little bit, and it wasn't even, I don't think it had blown up yet, to be honest. It had just released, and so I'd seen it on the shelves a couple times, because I always look at books when I'm out shopping, no matter what I'm looking for. And I saw it one day, and I said, you know what, just get it, because you keep seeing it, and you like used to love fantasy so much, so just get it. So I did, and let me tell you, this sent me into a spiral of like, I only read fantasy from now on, because like you can tell that what I've talked about so far had like 2 fantasy books in it. The rest was romance, because I was like re-entering my reading era, and I was like, we'll just do like some romance. Like, I don't know, I've always been a fantasy girly, and I've never really read a lot of romance, so book talk kind of got me more into the romance aspect of it. But let's just face it, nothing hits like fantasy does, especially for me. So this was a 5 stars for sure. I'm so glad that I picked it up. It really, really just like drove my love for reading even more, because I feel like sometimes romances get so like, they're just you know what it's gonna be. They're just predictable. It's just a romance. Like, usually there's nothing all that crazy, and I missed the action and just like all the drama that comes with fantasy. And if you haven't read this, like, I don't know what rock you're living under, but also, like, you know, to each their own. If you don't want to read it, don't read it. And if you didn't love it, that's okay too. I can totally understand why people don't think it's like the most amazing thing in the world, but I think for me, somebody who used to read fantasy all the time and then like fell off for like a few years, it was incredible. I needed it. Then I read Every Summer After just to continue the summery vibes, and it did do that. This is basically a knockoff Love in Other Words, and then throw in a really shitty trope. And so yeah, I would say that looking back, I would give this a 3 stars. I really enjoyed the story. I liked the friends, or the like, not friends to lovers, but like, whatever I'm trying to say. They have a past, like childhood friends, and now lovers. I don't know. I did like the way the story unfolded. I hated the end. The end just made me so frustrated, but I think just the fact that it felt like a knockoff Love in Other Words. Next we have Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. I give this is so hard. I gave this a 4 stars. I like go back and forth because I think I rated it a 4 stars just because like looking at everything else I read, it doesn't come close. However, this is just something so different that for what it is, it like really comes close to a 5 stars. It just didn't give me that feeling of a 5 stars, but I highly recommend this book. I love, love, love it, especially if you love video games. I love video games. I just think this was so unique and cool, and you just get so attached to the characters. It's a fantastic fiction book. Wow. It was definitely like, you know, slow, because I'm used to things that aren't that slow. And so that was like a little hard, but I was very invested, I'll say too. And it did get like really good there for a minute because the more things were happening and you were just so invested. And so I feel like I feel like I could bump it up to a 4.5 to be honest, because it's like a life-changing book, I would say. Like it really just, it just hits. It hits so good. Next we have When in Rome and Practice Makes Perfect. I adored these books. I want to read more Sarah Adams books for sure. They're so perfect for summer. Look how small they are. Like they're so easy to get through. They're small town romances. This follows 2 characters. This follows 2 other characters. I honestly, unpopular opinion, liked Practice Makes Perfect more. I would say this is a 4 stars and this was 4.5 stars. But you also like can't beat the OG couple, you know? So I don't know, but I highly recommend these books like so bad. It's just the perfect cute small town romance. There's just no other way to put it. And I just liked how short and sweet they were. I feel like that's exactly what I needed, because I don't want usually a romance that's like really long. Unfortunately, like Lucy Score, I haven't really read any of her books because I'm too scared. Next we have Crown of Gilded Bones, which is the 3rd book in From Blood and Ash. I read that on audiobook as well. I will say after this one, it fell off. Like I didn't continue the series only because I just started getting, really repetitive or just so drawn out that you almost didn't even care what was happening. Yeah. Next we have Serpent and the Wings of Night. This was a 5 stars. I didn't expect to love this as much as I did. It's literally Hunger Games with a bunch of vampires, and the female main character is a mortal girl. And just throw in some like smut, and just, it's not even that much smut. I'm totally kidding. There's so much tension though. It's so good. I still haven't gone to the 2nd book of this. I don't know why. I have The House in the Cerulean Sea. I adore this book. I will pick up anything that TJ Klune ever writes for the rest of my life. And that being said, this is still the only book that I have read, so I need to get on that. But I love this book. It's literally like getting a warm hug. I have no other way to describe it. If you want a cozy fantasy with magical children, pick it up. Take it. Next we have Divine Rivals. I read this like pretty early on in the year. I think at this point we're in like July now, June maybe. We might still be in June. I don't know. But I picked this up, and like as soon as people started talking about it, because I was very intrigued, and I'm so glad that I did. I literally have a tattoo on my arm for this book, you guys. I'm never gonna stop saying that because I think that just really represents how much that I love this book. It is for sure, like I would give it a 6 stars if I could. I just reread this for obviously Ruthless Vows, and I adore it. I just adore it. I have no other way to explain it except it's a very romantic fantasy. very low fantasy, very high historical fiction vibes, very just poetically romantic, just so pure-hearted, and just the way that these two characters connect. Throw in some magic in there, and then throw in a war between gods that are like magical. It definitely, I think the fantasy definitely amps up in the second book, the final book. This is a duology. But I like that. I like that there wasn't all, like, a whole bunch of fantasy, like, kind of getting in the way in this book. I really enjoyed that. Next, we have Caraval. This was a reread for me. I read these books back, like, girl, I don't even know, like 2017, 2018, something like that. I think it was 2017. I adored these books. These really got me into reading. This got me into my fantasy era. This just sparked my love for reading as a young adult. Excuse me. Whereas before it was only really like middle school, like even in high school I really didn't read anymore. This is so good. If you want something with really good imagery, this is for you. I will say I did the audiobooks for a reread, and I think that it kind of took the magic away for some reason. But it could just be that I loved it so much before that I kind of remembered what was going to happen, so I wasn't like surprised this go around. Because I think that I rated it like a 3 stars. Sorry. Yeah, I rated it a 3 stars, but honestly, I would say that this is definitely 4 stars just for the imagery, just for the beautiful, like, setup and just what this story is. Like, is it the most amazing poetic thing you're ever going to read? Absolutely not. It's very YA, but I think that's what makes it beautiful in a way. Like, it makes it so easy to read. So if you just need a really just magical world where you're like, holy crap, I'm like in the story, but it's so easy to read, this is for you for sure. Next, I read City of Bones. I did the audiobook for this as well, just because I was like, the only desire I have to read this is so I can say that I've read Cassandra Clare's books and also read like some of her newer ones, because I know that my friend's favorite is the Lady Midnight series or trilogy or whatever that is, and then the newer ones that I can't remember the name of. So, did this on audiobook, gave it like a 3 stars. 3 stars. Just because I feel like if I would have read this in high school or middle school or whatever, I would have ate this up and it would have been incredible. But it is just not for my audience now, being a 25-year-old girl. So, yes. It just felt like nothing really happened. Like, I just wish it would have moved a lot faster. Honestly, like, moving forward, I wish 1 and 2 were just combined. Like, I feel like the whole freaking trilogy could have just been one book, and that could just be me reading more advanced fantasy. I say that, and I don't. Not saying anything, okay? But 3 stars. I do recommend. I think that you need to read it. If you haven't read Cassandra Clare, get on the train with me. We're trying to get through them, for sure. It is just a placeholder. I read Magnolia Parks this year. I'm letting my friend borrow it, but I really did like it. I would give it like a 4 stars because it did not give me a 5-star feeling at all, but I was obsessed with the Gossip Girl vibes and the beautiful, beautiful writing that Jessa has. I was so taken aback by how poetic it was. I knew everyone had said the writing's so beautiful, but then I got to it and I was like, wow, girl, so good. So yes, I do recommend that. Next we have Darling Venom. I read this on my Kindle, and I would give it a 4 stars. It was definitely really good, and I ate it up. I did not expect the plot to go where it did, and it's definitely not like my favorite read of all time, but I definitely recommend it if you want those vibes, and I know Sarah Crowley like raves about that book. Next we have A Ship of Bones and Teeth. I read this on vacation. It was a great like Little Mermaid retelling, but make it dark. Do feel like it could have been maybe a little shorter. It did drag just for a second there, but I love the concept of it, and if you are like me and you love like pirates and stuff like that, especially in the summertime, this is for you. It's an adult version of like all of that, and I'm so here for it. I'm gonna move faster, swear. Then I have Legendary, continuing Caraval. This one I would say I would give like a 4 stars as well. We love her. We love her. This is following the other sister. Still great imagery, all the things. I definitely would say I don't like it as much as the first and the third one, though. I might actually have read 77 books because I don't see Hunting Adeline on my Goodreads. So, we have Haunting and Hunting Adeline. Honestly, they both get I would say Haunting Adeline gets like a 5 stars, and Hunting Adeline gets like a 4.5, only because it got so heavy that I was like, oh my god. Yeah. Well, check your trigger warnings. It's very, very dark romance. It's got to be like probably the darkest dark romance that I've read thus far. It's really deep. It's really deep, and it's really, really dark, and it's a lot. But if you're into that, I definitely recommend it. Next, we have Done and Dusted. I love this book. I need to get it on my shelf so bad because the cover is so cute, but it really wasn't like available in stores like it is now. And I got it on my Kindle, and it was just so perfect. It was a perfect cowboy romance, 5 stars for sure. Loved the characters. They were just so, oh, I just ate them up. The mailman character, oh, he had me on my knees, you guys. Like, he was so grumpy, but like in the best way. The best way. Oh my god, I could talk about that forever. Then I read Six Scorched Roses, which is on my shelf. I just, for some reason, didn't grab it. It's just the novella after Serpent in the Wings of Night. I like the novella more than like anything I've ever read, I swear. It was such a good novella. I never thought that I would like something like that. 5 stars. It was the cutest, like, most intriguing, like, little story. I ate it up. It was 180 pages, and I wish it was longer. It was good. Then I have City of Ashes. Honestly, like 2 stars. I feel like nothing happened in this book, but it's okay. I still like it for what it is. It's not that I don't recommend it. It's just like compared to everything else that I've read. Next, I read Belladonna. Come on. The pages are what made me pick it up. I'm sure that a lot of you can relate. I adored this book. It was, I would say, a 4 stars, I think. Yeah. This was a 4 stars. It wasn't the most amazing thing I've ever read, but I was so here for like the dark vibes. It was so eerie. It was giving high society London, like Bridgerton, but dark. And Death is a literal character in this. Person and not person. It's so weird. But I'm so here for it. There's like a little bit of mystery in there. It's just perfect for like getting into the spooky vibes. Perfect. Next, I read the Prison Healer trilogy. I read Prison Healer, obviously, Gilded Cage, and then Blood Trader. I would say that Prison Healer was a 5 stars. I was just so shocked, like, by how much I loved it. It's not the best thing I've ever read. It just gave me that 5-star feeling. It also, like, really is, like, reminiscent of ACOTAR in a way. Gilded Cage, I would give, like, a 4.5 stars, and then Blood Trader 5 stars. I just love the way the story wrapped up. I would honestly reread this. It was really good. It, like I said, not the most amazing thing in the world. Also, I'm just not realizing that these pages are darker than these, and that's really strange. Anyway, that's all you need to know. Then I read The Only One Left by Riley Sagers, our first book club pick of our book club, me and my best friends. We need to get back on that, speaking of. But I love Riley Sagers books. I've only read like one other one, but I just know that I like him. And that was a 5-star thriller for sure. It's like a Lizzie Borden like type vibe. Just go look it up. It was 5 stars. Next we have Dance of Thieves. I will say reading this so close to Prison Healer was a little too close, and I think it made me like Prison Healer more because it was way more to the point and action-packed. I mean, like, look how thick this is. I will say, though, I still really adored the characters in this. I liked the way the story went. Like, honestly, we didn't stay enemies for very long. It was like we went from enemies to lovers really fast, but then kind of back to enemies, like forced enemies. I love it. I love it. I think everyone should read this, but I think it really couldn't be a 5 stars because I think it was a little too similar to Prison Healer maybe. So I would say that's a 4.5. Oh, that hurt. Ouch. Then I have Finale, the last book in Caraval. I finished that. I would say that one's definitely like a 4.5 just because you're finally like, okay, things are happening. Like, what's going on? You're on the edge of your seat and you're like, what? But still great, just like the other ones. Next I have Assistant to the Villain. I cackled my entire way through this book. I highly recommend if you just want a cute little fantasy that makes you giggle. I have nothing else to recommend but this. And look at the pages. I mean, come on. But this is it's just so silly. It's so silly, and I just feel like it's one of those books that will just make you smile. Like, if it doesn't, then you're just heartless. I don't really know. But incredible, 5 stars. Didn't expect to love that as much as I did. Next we have the Mind F series. I actually only read like the first 2 in Kindle, so they're on my Goodreads because I read the first 2 books on Kindle, even though you can read it as a whole book. I know that I need to continue it. I really need to. I just, for some reason, like fell off for a minute there. Hopefully I finish it this year. I did like what I read so far. I would give it like 4 stars thus far. Yes. Next I read The Duke of Death and His Maid. This is a manga. First manga of the year, really. I don't know why I went the whole year of like not really reading any, because I tried to start in 2022 and then like really didn't. But this was just so cute. I ate this up. If you love manga, this is just such a cute little, they just have a little banter and it's adorable. I can't not love it. Next I have The Naturals. I really enjoyed this. This is basically Criminal Minds, but make it with teenagers that have like these powers, and that's basically what it is. 4 stars. Definitely, you know, could have been more mature, maybe, I don't know, but it's really good for what it is. I really enjoyed it. I need to continue the series, hopefully. Next we have King of Battle and Blood. This was our second book club pick. I actually gave it away because I did not like it. I gave it like a 2 stars, and honestly I would almost give it less than that. I just didn't like it. I just didn't give a crap about the plot. It just, the setup of it was, I don't know, it just felt like it was all smut and no plot, but the plot was also just like frustrating. It wasn't even a good plot. It was like they were trying to make it a good plot and it was awful. But that's just my opinion. That's my opinion. Next we have Foxglove. I give this a 4 stars as well. This is the second book to Belladonna. Read this as soon as it came out. I enjoyed the continuation, and I honestly will say like the plot was a little bit better in this one than it was in Belladonna. Kind of here for it. I like the things that we introduced. It was cool. It was cool. I feel like there's similar things elsewhere that might be a little bit better, but I really enjoyed it. The vibes were still vibing. Next we have A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. Wow, I've really got to hurry this up. Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I mean, come on. Cozy mystery. It's giving like Nancy Drew, Pretty Little Liars. What more could you want? 4 stars. Then we have Vow of Thieves. I picked this up finally. Just continue Dance of Thieves. I enjoyed this book. I think I almost enjoyed this one more. I feel like I enjoyed the beginning of the first book, and then it kind of like fell off for me a little bit, and then this book just kind of brought it all back together, and I really liked that, so 4 stars. Next we have The Grace Year. I was so shocked by how much I liked this. This was a 5 stars. I loved the like strength that the female main character has. We were like rooting for her so hard. She was honestly giving Katniss a little bit. I loved it. Highly recommend. Next we have A Study in Drowning. I loved the vibes. The vibes were everything, like tabbed all over. I don't think the plot was like the most, like I didn't eat it up all that much. There could have been more action in my opinion, but I feel like it was giving a cozy fantasy that still has some high stakes. It honestly gives that one movie where they have like the Spiderwick Chronicles with the little like thing, like you like look through the thing and you see things, or like Bridge to Terabithia. It's almost giving that. Like this world isn't, like nobody really is supposed to see it, but certain people can. I don't know. It's just amazing. I don't know. 4 stars. I feel like a lot of things I'm like, I don't really know what to rate it, and so I just rate it 4 stars. My goal is to get better at that this year. Next we have Bunny. Bunny was really hard to rate for me because I really didn't know what to do about it. 3 stars, only because it made me feel uncomfy, but I really loved it. Like I still think that like the author that created this is a freaking mastermind, and it hit. It really did, but I just felt like I was tripping, and I just don't know if I liked that. But I still recommend. What? Okay. I feel like my Goodreads and my rating and stuff like is not really matching up, but that's okay. Where are these? We have Butcher and Blackbird. 5 stars. It was another dark romance that I really loved. Honestly, loved it more than Hunting Adeline and Haunting Adeline. But they're literally both unalivers, and they're like competing to like get the target at the same time. It's giving like John Wick, like Hitman, just, but then make it funny. Like they're just so funny, and I just love them. And he falls first, okay? He really falls first, and I love that. Next we have Go Hex Yourself. If you want a romance that is like witchy, this is it. This is just it. I love the way they incorporated like the witchiness of it, and the banter was great. It was cute. It really was. And it was like believable. You know, it was like a believable kind of like rivals to lovers kind of thing. Loved it. Next we have Such Sharp Teeth. I would give this honestly like a 2.5 stars. I didn't hate it. It was a very easy read. I just feel like nothing happened, and that you kind of didn't care what happened because nothing happened, if that makes sense. Probably not. Next we have The Hunger Games. I did the audiobook of this, just rereading these to prepare for Songbirds and Snakes, as I'm sure a lot of us did. Obviously 5 stars, obviously. Next we have One Dark Window. This was our October pick of our book club. Oh my god, look at all those tabs. I adored these. We can just put them together even though I didn't like read them back to back necessarily, because this one came out recently. Also love that they're both paperback. Thank you, Orbit, for that. How do I even rate these? I would say that they're 5 stars for both. Honestly, I adored the world building in this. It's so unique, so like just eerie vibes. Definitely for the fall or like the winter, not like a very summer springy vibe. Next we have Powerless. This is my Roman Empire, my everything read. If you watch me at all, please go read this. I have to reread it like ASAP. There's so many tabs. I need to add more to it. Just read it. I'm not even gonna explain it to you. Just go read it. You don't need context from me. You should just trust what I have to say and do it. Dowry of Blood. This was just me trying to like enjoy the Halloween vibes at the very last minute and read like a vampire story. This was definitely like a 3.5. Definitely recommend it. It was very unique, I'll say. Definitely vampire vibes, just maybe could have been a little bit more action-packed. Next we read the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy. All that work of doing the Caraval trilogy paid off. 4.5 stars. 5 stars. 4.5 stars. I adore this series so much. You don't even understand. Oh my god. And then I have the pretty covers. Just do it, please. Do it for Jax, okay? Do it for Jax. If you love romantasy in any way and you want something that's a bit more like fairy tale vibes, this is that. This is that for sure. Preparation for Iron Flame. So I reread Fourth Wing, then got Iron Flame as soon as it came out and picked up this bad boy. This took me forever and a day to read. It's a 4 stars. Can't even give it a 4.5. I almost want to give it a 3.5 because of how like frustrated I still feel about this. I didn't even go back in and tab it. Read it on my Kindle. It took me 5 years. I feel like most of this was fucking pointless. Yeah. Still read it. Still enjoyed it. I just can't help but be frustrated. So then after that, I was like, now I'm in a huge reading slump, thanks Iron Flame. So now I just kind of want like a Wattpaddy book, kind of. So I picked up Manacled. That is not a Wattpaddy book, I'll just let you know right now. It's incredible and it's a masterpiece. And it also put me into a reading slump a little bit more because I was so emotionally traumatized and attached to this book that it felt like nothing was ever going to cure me. So, that being said, finished my Catching Fire audiobook, 5 stars. Also, Manacled was 5 stars, if you couldn't tell by that reaction. And then I was like, man, I really got to get out of this. So I picked up a romance. I picked up Wildfire by Hannah Grace. I loved Icebreaker when I read it in 2022. This is a signed copy as well, which is cool. I mean, I think it's digitally signed maybe, but super cool. I loved this. I loved Russ. Super cute, like, summer camp romance. Why would you not pick it up? And then I was like, okay, let's keep trying to get out of this reading slump. This did it for me. Defy the Night did it for me. Then I continued Defend the Dawn. The last book is coming out this month. Hopefully gonna get to that. 5 stars, 4 stars. Literally so good. Literally so good. It's just a good, it's just a good YA fantasy, okay? We're almost done, guys. We're almost done. Next, we have Bridge Kingdom. I read Bridge Kingdom and Blood Trader, which are the 2 out of the 4 that are about these characters. It's literally a blueprint for enemies to lovers in fantasy. What more could you want? Yes. Definitely like a 5 stars and then a 4 stars. Maybe like a 4.5 for the second one. I don't know. Then I picked up Never by Jessa Hastings. This was very impulsive of me. I just saw it and I said I need it. Peter Pan retelling, 5 stars. Emotional damage. Okay, emotional damage. Did we expect anything else? Probably not. Then I finished the audiobook for Mockingjay. 5 stars, of course. Duh. Then I finished Songbirds of Snakes. Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. It's fine. 5 stars. Watched the movie. Incredible. Almost like the book a little bit more, but I loved the movie. I feel like they did a good job. Next we have, oh my god, I left Vicious up there. It's okay. Next I finished the Mortal Instruments, like, first 3 stars, you know. Still wish it would have given a little bit more, but that's okay. Next I did the audiobook for Vicious. I liked it. It was a 4 stars. It was definitely, like, unlike anything I usually read, but it was a beautiful story. Like, still, I definitely recommend it. It's just not something that I usually read. And then lastly, my manga, The Seventh Time Loop. Really cute. Literally just, like, reliving lives and dying every, you know, I don't know how to explain it. There's a little bit of enemies to lovers in there if you're interested. Yes. And that, everyone, is my 2023 reads. Thank you so much for watching. I'm sorry that took so long. Yeah, and I will see you guys in the next video. The next video, I'm going to talk about what's on my physical TBR for this year, so that when the year is over, we can see if we even touched any of that. Oh, thanks for watching.